So guys, this is my toolbox setup. Work cart, toolbox. On my work cart, I usually keep my 3/8 ratchets and extensions, and these are mid-length 3/8 impacts, and my metric 1/4 inch. These mid-lengths are metric too. My impacts 3/8 1/2 inch, different chemicals, blowgun, mini pry bar, hammers, kneeling pad, various different little bottle jacks and stuff that I use on a consistent basis. And then my toolbox setup, like you can tell, is a Mako bottom box. I'm not sure what size. We'll get the tape measure out when we get over there. And then my top is there's a Craftsman sandwich piece, middle chest. And then I have a wooden shelf built around that, so it acts kind of like a hutch that I can store stuff on. Then obviously chemicals and stuff off to the right there. This back corner over here, I have the base for my vacuum bleeder, so that whenever I gotta take that lid off, I can just take and put it in there, and it's screwed to the top of the box, so I can just take the lid off, no problems. Top drawer here is my junk drawer, 1/2 inch drawer. It's where I keep my 1/2 inch impacts, big breaker bars, torque wrenches, torque sticks, various different little containers of miscellaneous crap. Same way back here, this is miscellaneous like body pin connectors and stuff like that. Next drawer over here is another semi-junk drawer. My files, cylinder hones, like small hones for like wheel cylinders or something like that. This front corner here is tune-up stuff, pieces of tubing you get spark plugs out, and gap and all that type of stuff. Razor blade scrapers, hemostats, tweezers and little things. In here somewhere I have like small engine stuff too, like sections like this of small fishing line to push through carburetor orifices for small engines and stuff like that. This drawer's got my scrapers in it, and my oil filter wrenches, strap wrenches, wire brushes, putty knives, stuff like that. Screwdriver drawer, and picks. Pliers drawer. Kind of like minimalistic setup. This is my 3/8 and 1/2 inch socket drawer. And then this Mac kit here is my star bits. Nice little kit, keeps everything contained. And this down here is my like miscellaneous drawer. It's where I keep my ball joint press and snap ring pliers set, various different like lubricants and chemicals that I have, tire pressure gauge, engine compression gauge. This drawer here is my metric wrenches set up. I have Craftsman Professional is what I have in here. This is SAE standard stuff, pipe wrenches, adjustable wrenches. Pretty much an equivalent to what the metric setup is. Air tool drawer, die grinders and various attachments for that, inner tie rod tool, 3/8 torque wrenches, timing light, various different little things. My hammers drawer, punches, air hammer, pickling fork set, electrical repair diagnostic drawer. It's where I keep my multimeter and my different test leads and stuff that I have. My wire strippers and crimpers. I keep everything like there. And then this has got various different connectors in it to make connections. And then different adapters I have for different pins to make jumper wires or test components. And then down here is another miscellaneous drawer. It's where I got my electric drill and my my cam sprocket holding tool that I hardly ever use, my little 2-jaw puller. And then this red Matco box is my like steering wheel puller set. Obviously you see here on the left the slightly disassembled my cooling system pressure tester that I end up just using my vacuum tester for. I also got a spark plug cleaner in here and gloves and just various little things that I don't use much out of this drawer except for the cooling system stuff. And like I was saying, I got the sandwich piece here, and then this bottom drawer in that is like thread repair stuff, like my thread repair kit. And then a couple like wood chisels that I use for like scraping gasket surfaces, things like that. Caliper tool back here. Next drawer up is miscellaneous like pop rivets and pinhole hooks and things like that. You know how they have the special tools you can buy to pull down on like a lower control arm or something like that? Well, I just take the hook off of an old ratchet strap, hook it somewhere on the control arm that you can get a decent bite, and then through this hole here is where I put my long pry bar. And you get a little bit of leverage and pull on that, and you can get lower control arms disconnected or whatever else. Seems to work out pretty good for me. You buy the tool that they have that you can buy from Matco or whatever. It's basically the same thing as this, only it's a 1-inch squared for the pry bar to go in, and it's probably like a $40 or $50 tool. This drawer's got drill bits, air drill, my damaged bolts and nuts remover tools, cotter pins, wheel stud installer, tire repair stuff, digital thermometer, cash, change from something I bought. But this is like what I consider my brake tools drawer. I got various different line fittings, and then obviously brake tools. Back here's different weather connectors, for like drum brakes and stuff like that, and different covers for bleeders and whatnot. And then this is micrometer for doing rotors. Flashlight with like my charger, and goes back to a charging. I have you can see it back here, I have the 6-foot long power cord from Harbor Freight that I have hooked to the back of the top of the box. My drill doctor, Allen wrench set from Harbor Freight. And like up here I have this is my vacuum tool, my Mighty Vac. See if we can get the part number to focus. MV8500, That's that. And this will do pressure and vacuum, so I use this to put pressure in the cooling systems. Just hook the hose up. I'll hook it to the adapters for the other pump, and then I can pressure test the system up to 15 psi or whatever the system pressure is. I also have the vacuum bleeder for power steering systems, a universal adapter. That works really good. You can also use this for bleeding brakes. That's what this canister's for. You know, pretty much anything that requires vacuum or pressure, you could use this for. Have a heat gun up here, and then I have this is Mac's version of it. But it's probably made by Master Cool or somebody like that, or same thing as the Master Cool, but the universal hydraulic flaring tool set. For making brake fittings or transmission lines. I don't have the transmission adapters for making transmission lines, but you can make, you know, push connect fittings for fuel lines and things like that. It's come in really handy since I spent the money to get it. This box here has got various different fittings for grease guns. You know, grease gun adapters, like 90-degree adapter, or different setups like that for the grease gun. These are all books on like AC, air conditioning stuff, charts for air conditioning. I don't do a lot of the AC work, but when I do have to do it, I got these when I learned how to do AC in the service, and I've just kept the books. They're a good resource to refresh your memory or look at the charts for different pressures compared to temperature. And those are, we have Cintas here, and we have a paper towel dispenser for when we wash our hands, and those are the used towels that would just get thrown in the trash, but I keep them, and then when I do a lube job and grease stuff, I'll take one of those rolls and I'll take this wrapping paper slicer, and I'll slice off a section of that to make a rag to clean the grease off the fittings or whatever else, so I'm not having to make a red rag or something completely full of grease and ruin it. I can, you know, use that and then throw that in the trash, because that's where it was going to end up being anyway. So yeah, that's my box setup, and we'll see what the overall total dimension of this. I think it's like 54 inches or something. See what it says here. Oh no, bigger than that. So we're at 57 inches wide, and then with handles and everything, we're probably at around 62 or 4, somewhere in there, because there's a handle on the other side that's just as long. So we'll say overall distance, if you're going to try to fit it into a space, would have to be probably about 64 inches. And then depth wise, we are like 29 inches depth wise. Yeah, I spent this toolbox, this Matco box on the bottom here, I bought for $1,500. Bought it used from a guy. He was getting out of the business, needed money. You know, one day he opened his box at the shop and said open box sale, and everybody else in the shop bought what they wanted out of it. And I didn't say nothing and kept going, and one of the guys from up in the front office talked to the dude that owned it and was like, hey, you know, that guy down there needs a toolbox. You know, you should go give him a good price on, you know, if you're really hurting for money, go give him a good price. And I ended up paying $1,500 for the toolbox and all the tools that were left in it. And, you know, some of the tools that were left in it were like this air ratchet was left in it. The inner tie rod tool was left in it. This kit here of adapters for the die grinder was left in it. Both the die grinders were left in it. You know, this cutoff tool was left in it. People didn't want. You know, there's a lot of stuff that it was left in the toolbox that was decent tools and, you know, decent. Decent. It was a decent buy. I made out like a bandit for paying $1,500 for it because the box itself is probably worth, you know, empty, used, slightly better shape when I bought it from him than since I've had it. It's probably worth, you know, $2 to $3 grand, if not more. And I paid $1,500 and got, you know, it and all the tools that were left in it, you know. So I think I made out pretty well with it. You can see on the side of this, I have set up for a charging station for my drills. Obviously, drill doctor, that's hooked up for sharpening drill bits all the time. Spill-free funnel setup. But yeah, this is the setup that I have here at work, and that's what I work with. I used to have, or I still have, at home. I have the bottom and top section for this Craftsman box. You know, at one point in time, I used to have the top chest for that Craftsman box sitting on top of that sandwich piece. So I had all those drawers then too of storage. And I thought to myself, well, I want to make something like a hutch that goes around this because I want shelves. And I started with making what you see there for shelves. And I still have the idea of putting some other sort of shelves up, you know, so that this space here could actually take like a 3-ring binder and put in there, and I could put those books on edge and have more space for storing stuff, big stuff like these blow molded cases and everything. But yeah, that's my setup. Like, comment, subscribe if you so choose. I don't know if I'll put out another video or what I'll do, you know, video wise. I figured I'd make this video of my toolbox because everybody's been talking about their setups, and it's hard to try to describe how this setup is. I know Colden's, he has his box, you know, his chest box on top of his toolbox like this, but he said about taking it off because he was out of space to work on or whatever else. But I kind of gotten used to that being like that, and I think I'd be lacking if I didn't have it. I also have this down here. That box there is for my torque wrench, which is up in the drawer right now. But I also have, for my personal tools, you know, OTC's hub grappler. It says Mac, it's just rebranded like everything. But yeah, I've spent the money and got this, and I've used it several different times now. It's saved our butts, or saved my butt, in doing, you know, pressed in wheel bearings. But yeah, I find myself, it feels like I seem to buy a lot of tools that are what I would consider shop tools, like this here hub grappler and the hydraulic flaring tool. Stuff that I would think that would be like a shop tool. And if I had my own shop, I would have them as being part of the shop tools, like have a centralized toolkit, a CTK is what we would call it in the service. And then you have chits that you go and borrow the tools. Put a chit in with your box number, your name or something, and it says who has the tool. And then, you know, somebody goes looking for it, they can see the chit and say, oh, that's so-and-so's got this, and go see if they still have it. That's the way we did things in the service. That's the way, if I ever owned a shop, that's the way I would want to do things in my shop. All right, I'm going to wrap this up, and like I said before, like, comment, subscribe. Not sure if I'll put out another video. I'm sure I'll put something out at some point in time in the future when I feel the need to, but I'm going to wrap this one up and go see about editing it and getting it posted. So see you guys later.